Hi everyone, I'm Bill Burton. Welcome to this week's edition of Trackside. Well, this week the Trackside crew centered its attention around the Coors Tour at Beech Motor Speedway in Scarborough, Maine. This week, well, it was the 15th stop of the tour, and we will bring you action up to the 4th lap of the feature race, which ended up being postponed to this weekend, but we will show you some of the footage. The Trackside camera crew also had a chance to catch up with 3 of the most successful drivers in the tour, the first of which was Georgetown's very own Paul Richardson.
Tell you, they gave you just enough room to get by with, you know, and you respect people like that, you know. They're a great group, great group.
Next, from one of the most improved drivers in the Coors Tour, Barney McRae.
It's just being on equal terms with everybody else, and also having a chance for a new race car made a big difference in my career so far this year.
And finally, the 1986 Coors champion, Robbie Crouch.
We felt we were right, and we felt that they couldn't do what they did, and I guess the judge agreed with us. So we feel, you know, real pleased about that, and that it turned out the way we thought it would.
We also had a chance to talk to Coors Tour director Tom Curley.
Well, we've had a great tour season. You know, we had some real question marks with all the new cars and the new concept, but our Coors Tours had as good a season as we've had in the last 8 or 9 years, so I'm very, very happy at this point.
Also, Beech Ridge PR director Andy Cusick.
Probably with the Coors Tour, yes. I expect to come back with probably 3 more shows. We'll be working with that, setting something up with Tom Curley again and getting things in line there. And of course, we'll continue to try to make some more expansions here and trying to shop around for a deal on grandstands and see if we can put some more people in here with some expanded area.
And as always, later in the show, we'll have results from throughout the whole New England area a little later on in the show. Okay, we come back. We're going to venture back up to Scarborough, Maine, and talk with Georgetown's very own Paul Richardson. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back. Well, Paul Richardson of Georgetown is now 40 years old, and this year, in his first year, he's won over $19,000 and already the leader in the Rookie Championship. Well, our very own in Speedway scenes, Mark Thomas had a chance to catch up with Paul.
Well, your rookie season on the Coors Tour, you seem to like racing with these guys. How do you assess your progress so far?
Well, I think we've come in here doing a little bit better than we expected. The crew, they've done a heck of a job maintaining the car weekly, and you know, a race like today we ran last night, and then the guys worked all night on the car to prep it for tonight's show. You know, and it's asking a lot for the guys, the crew, and but they're doing it, and I'm telling you, we're having a lot of fun. You know, if anything, we're having a real good time on the Coors Tour, and we really enjoy it.
In fact, you mentioned your crew, and your crew chief was honored yesterday with an award from the American Canadian Tour Brass, the crew chief of the first half of the season award.
Yeah, I'll tell you, he was really shocked. He was surprised, but you know, all the hard work and effort they've all done, well, it just shows. You know, they got the award last night, and he was shocked and tickled. You know, it was great.
Catamount Stadium now. You've got one more shot to go back there, a 300-lap race. It's like you've been racing there all of your life the way you've been going this year, and bad luck kind of probably took a race away from you last night, but you really seem to be dialed in there. What's the secret to Catamount Stadium?
Well, I don't know if it's a secret or not, but you know, that track there, it's like what I like running on. It's tight turns and long straightaways, you know, and high bank turns. And that's what we've always run on, you know, back at Hudson and Westboro and Thompson and stuff. I relate that track with Catamount. And we seem to hit it right off quick. The first race of the year up there, we were fast car. The next race, we were fast car. And, you know, just things like that. Like last night, it was a tough break. You know, we should have won it, but you know, it was a tough break. The next one's 300 lapper, so maybe that'll be ours, you know.
Now, you were one of the top super modified drivers in recent years, Star Speedway and wherever the area super modified cars went, and this is quite a departure from that style of racing. How do you compare the two?
Well, driving a big car like this, you know, it's 3,000-pound car. The supers were 17, 18, 1850, and I'll tell you, it's well, the only way I can explain it is a super modified is like shooting a rifle. You know, it's real precise and accurate and quick. This here is more like a bow and arrow. You know, it's everything is slower. You know, it reacts slower, it moves slower, but it's different. I enjoy it. It's a good tour. There's a bigger point fund in supers, you know, and I think that's why we moved up, because we just, you know, we did all we could do in supers, you know, so we thought we'd give this a shot, and well, that's why we did it, you know. It's a new challenge, I think.
And how do you like running against the Coors Tour competitors, the drivers, the Jamie Obies and the Robbie Crouches?
Yeah, they're super. Yeah, they're a good bunch of guys to run with. You know, you can run right up door handle to door handle with them, and come out of the fourth turn last night, and I'm against the wall, and I'm telling you, they gave you just enough room to get by with, you know, and you respect people like that, you know. They're a great group, great group.
You're nearing the top 5 in the point standings now, planning to run all the rest of the shows. Do you see yourself returning to this tour in the future after this year?
Definitely, most definitely, yeah. We're already putting plans together for the 88 season right now, you know. We're trying to get a different motor program so we can always have one fresh motor in the box ready to go in the car. That's another thing we've been, you know, we've been struggling, you know. We haven't really got a sponsor. We got DHS Homes. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't been able to do it this year, you know, and but they've been real good. They started us out with 2 cars and 2 motors, and well, now we're down to 1 car and 1 motor, but no, it's a sponsor's game, and we're looking around for another one to help out, but I think next year will be bigger and better for us.
Well, we're sure we'll see you around and in Victory Lane a couple more times. One of the few rookies ever to win a race on the Coors Tour. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. We'll see you later.
Well, Barney McRae, 9 out of his last 13 races, he has finished in the top 10. That's all you have to need to know. Right now, he's currently 5th in the points standings, and we had a chance to talk with him.
Barney, you always said if you had some equipment on here, you'd be able to run up front. This year, you're starting to show it. What's the difference between the old Coors Tour, the new Coors Tour, the old Barney McRae, and the new Barney McRae?
Well, this race car is a real fast race car, and there's a lot of difference between my last year's car and this year's car. But you know, the wheelbase is shorter, and I've always had a little bit more of an obsolete race car than most of the guys, and now we're on real equal terms, and I guess when we're on equal terms, it can show parity, you know, and I think God's helping us a lot. It's just being on equal terms with everybody else, and also having a chance for a new race car made a big difference in my career so far this year.
So you're running on the Coors Tour. You thought a little bit about running with NASCAR during the winter, but you came back to the Coors Tour. Now it looks like it could pay off for you. You're leading the new champions point standings. You've been getting a few good checks lately in the top 5 in the points. Probably get a good check out of that. You think you'll stick with the Coors Tour in the future?
Well, Mark, I made a big decision this spring, and I said that in the fall I want to look back on the year and know that I did the right thing, you know, and as of right now, and I really truly believe that this is the circuit to be on. Yeah, you know, I mean, this tour, I'm really happy with everything that's gone on this year, and I think the Coors Tour is got bigger and better things to look forward to, and I'm going to stick with it. You know, I'm young and I can grow with the tour, and I think that Tom's got a lot of big ideas for it, and we're going good, and I'm happy that, you know, I guess if things weren't working so well for me this year, I'd be a little bit more disappointed, but you know, I can say right now that I made the right decision with going with the Coors Tour, and you know, I think that's where I'll stay in the future.
How do you like this year's cars compared to the sheet metal cars that the Busch Grand National Tour is running now that you've had a history of running in the past?
Well, actually, you know, I haven't changed any body parts. You know, the car may start to look to show it, but I haven't changed any plastic parts this year at all. Well, with the exception is maybe I changed this fender, but I put a used one on. So actually, this left front fender came off Beaver's car, and it was the same color. We didn't paint it or anything. We just put it on there. So I haven't put any new body parts on at all. And the steel, you know, gets dented and stuff, and this stuff here seems to give more. And, you know, if you lean on each other a little bit, the plastic seems to come back, and the steel would have got a little dent in it. So I'm happy right now with the plastic car, and I'm really surprised how durable they are. Naturally, they can break, but they go back together just as good as steel can. So, you know, I don't put new pieces on anyway, and as far as new steel or new plastic, I guess I prefer this.
Barney, you've been racing for a lot of years in Vermont. You started out in the mini stock division a long time ago. I think you were not quite telling us the truth about your age back then. You've been racing for quite a few years, so why don't you tell the people who probably all think you're a little older than that how old you really are?
Well, I'm 27 this year, and I've been racing for 12 years. So we started when I was 15, and there's no question about it. You know, I kind of snuck in a little bit, but that's what I wanted to do, and it's what I've always wanted to do, and I've done that ever since I was 15. Every summer I've raced, and you know, I put everything I've got into it, and we make a real good effort.
This year, a couple new sponsors came on board, helped your racing budget out a little bit, and helped you run up front. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course, Wonderful World of Waterbeds in Essex Junction, Vermont, started with me last year, and they really have been growing with me, and they're very impressed. We were looking for a top 10 finish this year, and it looks like we're going to have a lot better than that. I guess they're getting more than they ever expected that we would, you know, get putting this car together and everything. And we also got a tire sponsor this year, Mountain View Tire, and Lamel Lumber just came on in the last month or so. And you know, with all the backing and stuff like that, it's really what it takes to put a show together. And you know, this is what we got, and we're really proud with it.
A couple second-place finishes this year. Still looking for that first big win. Can you just about feel it coming?
Well, you know, I mean, I can't get any closer, I guess. You know, we came a foot from winning one at Catamount, so I think if we're gonna win, we ought to be able to win this year. But then again, there's a lot of stiff competition. Everybody's running real close. I guess I got 5 top 5 finishes this year, so you know, we're running consistent, and if we can just keep running in the top 5, you know, we're gonna pull one off real soon.
Yeah, well, we'll be seeing a lot of Barney McRae in the future. Thanks, Barney.
Thank you, Mark.
And then there was Robbie Crouch, who's the winningest driver ever on the Coors Tour. This past week, he was a double winner, and Maine's Motorsports Report's Dan Wolf had a chance to catch up with him and talk to him about the wins.
Robbie, you had a big win last night at Catamount Speedway, the last night race at that track. What do you feel about that?
Well, I feel great. It was a tough race. A lot of people got in trouble last night. It was a full moon. So I'm pretty fortunate. I got pretty lucky last night that we had a real clean race, and when a lot of the competition fell by the wayside, you know, had some problems. So it's a good night for us.
How do you feel about the points race now as the season winds down and you started to get a little hotter?
Well, I tell you, the points are so tight right now that, you know, I won a race and Jamie's second almost every time. I think he's been second in every race I've won this year. So, you know, even when I have a great night, he doesn't have a bad night. We gained a few points last night, but, you know, it seems like when we win, then we're usually... when he wins, we're usually back in the pack a little bit. So that, you know, that hurts us. We have had a good season in the heats and the semi-features, which, you know, give us some points. So we've done pretty well in those, and that's really what's kept us in the hunt.
Last Monday, you had a different kind of victory in the district court in Burlington, Vermont. You finally became the 1985 NASCAR Coors Tour champion. Your thoughts on that?
Well, you know, of course, that's a long time ago now. It's been a couple of years, and it was a tough decision to make in the first place to go after in that particular way. But we felt we were right, and we felt that they couldn't do what they did, and I guess the judge agreed with us. So we feel, you know, real pleased about that, and that it turned out the way we thought it would.
At what point do you think you'll get the money? There's about $50,000 on the line.
Well, I don't know the exact total, but I think it'll be pretty soon. You know, they've got a few weeks to decide their course of action, but I don't think that they would appeal the decision because I think it's too clear-cut. So I think, you know, it'll be in the next couple of months we should get the money.
Okay, how are you going tonight, and what are your thoughts on tonight's race at Beech Ridge?
Well, this has been a pretty good track for me in the past, so I'm looking forward to it. It's kind of hard to tell. We've been out in a couple of practice sessions. The car feels pretty good, but, you know, I don't know how everybody else is running. We're just trying to get the car comfortable for me. Last night at Catamount, we didn't really win the race with sheer speed, but we just kind of outlasted everyone, and, you know, we'll try to take it easy tonight and do the same. We're not running... relative to everyone else, we're not, you know, any faster than anyone else. So we gotta win other ways besides speed. We gotta outlast them and stay out of trouble. So that's the plan of action tonight.
Well, those are three very successful drivers, and we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to go to the Coors Tour director, Tom Curley, and find out why this season has been a lot better than people expected. We'll be back in a moment.
Before you go to heat, if you don't go protect.
Well, one thing the Coors Tour of 1987 has been, it's been very competitive. And our very own Dan Wolf spoke at the Coors Tour director, Tom Curley, and he told us why and what's ahead for the future.
Tom, the 1987 season's two-thirds of the way down. At the beginning of the year, a lot of people said you couldn't do it. Every week it gets better. What are your thoughts?
Well, we've had a great tour season. You know, we had some real question marks with all the new cars and the new concept. But our Coors Tours had as good a season as we've had in the last 8 or 9 years, so I'm very, very happy at this point.
How about crowds?
Oh, well, the crowds, other than that first Senior race, really, the crowds have been much better than I'd expected. I think the racing's been better than I ever expected, because I thought with the new cars that we were really at risk in terms of, we've always had pretty good competition, but I think the new cars have added a tremendous dimension to our racing, and I think that's one of the reasons the crowds are as good as they are.
The race itself, the Raw Insurance 100, attracted over 35 entries. And after a very interesting and entertaining drivers meeting where Tour Director Tom Curley emphasized that the races better respect each other, the qualifying events began. Now let's go to Dan Wolf from the stands where he talks about the day's qualifying activities.
In the qualifying heats for the Coors Tour Rowell Insurance 100 here at Beech Ridge Speedway, 6 cars went into the feature event from each of the heat races. The first heat race was won by Jack Bateman. The second heat was won by Canadian driver Claude Leclerc. Heat number 3 went to Beaver Dragon, and the consolation races were won by Beech Ridge regulars Scott Mulkern and Mike Mayetta. Other qualified drivers include Jack Bateman, Ralph Nason, Jean-Paul Cabana, Stub Fadden, Robbie Crouch, as well as Beech Ridge regulars Bob Bilodeau, Mike Johnson, Danny Pullen, and Bob Gahan. Robbie Crouch won the time trial event with a time of 15:5:85, and in the semi-feature it was Claude Leclerc, the winner, followed by Dave Dion and the E.J. Prescott number 09, filling in for Rick Craven. Stub Fadden was 3rd, Beaver Dragon was 4th, and Paul Richardson was 5th. And going into tonight's feature event, Jamie Obey and Robbie Crouch are now tied for the Coors Tour point standing.
Well, the entire day was run under threatening skies, and finally, when the race did begin, it started to sprinkle before the first lap was ever finished. And then 2 laps into the race, there had already been 2 yellows, one of which had Dave Bibbett and Paul Richardson locked up. Every attempt was made to dry the track, but before the 4th lap was finished, the skies opened up and drenched the entire facility. Let's go to Dan Wolf for the story.
Thank you, Bill. Tonight at Beech Ridge Speedway, the big winner, the rainstorm. It had threatened to rain for 2 hours before the raindrops finally started to fall at lap 1 of the Rowell Insurance Coors Tour 100. And then, with 3 laps completed, a steady rain started to envelop the track. They got 1 more lap in. Stub Fadden, the leader. They will run that race next Saturday night here at Beech Ridge Motor Speedway in Scarborough, Maine. And the patrons will get, for a regular admission ticket, a regular field of racing here at Beech Ridge, plus 96 laps of Coors Tour racing. Now let's go back to the studio with Bill Burt.
Thank you, Dan. Well, as Dan said, the race will be picked up at the 4th lap and completed next Saturday night. Now let's take a look at the top 10, how it stood at the time of the delay. It was Stub McFadden first, Jeff Stevens, Ralph Nason, Claude Leclerc, Jamie Obey, Robbie Crouch, Beaver Dragon, Bob Bilodeau, Haverhill's Tom Quinney, and Dave Johnson. Well, after the cancellation of the event, Dan Wolf stayed around to talk with PR Director Andy Cusack about this 1987 season.
Andy, the 1987 season is by far the most successful season ever at Beech Ridge Speedway. Tonight, the weather caught you. How much racing have you lost to weather this year?
Actually, I don't think we've lost any show altogether in 1987, so we've been quite fortunate. We have had to reschedule a few shows to the next day on a Sunday or something to that nature, but it's certainly not as bad as 1986, which of course was the first year we was on the asphalt, and all of June, July, and most of August was nothing but rain every Saturday night. And tonight, at least, we got most of the show in, but back in 86, it seemed that every time we were going to start at 7:33, the rain came at 7:32 and knocked us out for the night, and we just had a case of that last year that was real bad, but this year it's been a lot better.
Okay, next week on Saturday night they'll have 96 laps of Coors Tour racing here at Beech Ridge. What's your next big race after that?
Next big one would come on, actually just a week later, on August 23rd. That is the annual CarQuest 100. It's more of an open competition format style as opposed to just a tour with our late model drivers running with them. Drivers, in the last time that we had our open competition format, the Thompson Machine 150 in July, we had drivers from Robbie Crouch to Mike Rowe and right down through the ranks. So a lot of those drivers will come in from outside to compete in this type of thing in the open competition format. That's August 23rd, a Sunday night show.
Okay, now you do have one final Coors Tour race here in October, and that would be what, October 14th, 15th?
October 4th. It's a Sunday afternoon show, the final show of the year. That should be a real good one. It's going to be the 100-lap competition race, similar to what we were going to be running here tonight. Our late models, along with the tour late models, will try qualifying. They're running the 100-lap format. But the best part of all is that for the first time ever, the Coors Showdown will be brought from Vermont to Maine. That, of course, is just a 20-lap race featuring all of the tour winners from 1987, all the tour feature winners. They'll battle it out in the 20-lap feature race, and it's $5,000 to win. So that'll cap off the whole day, and it should be pretty wild.
For 1988, bigger and better things with the Coors Tour here at Beech Ridge?
Probably with the Coors Tour, yes. I expect to come back with probably 3 more shows. We'll be working with that, setting something up with Tom Curley again and getting things in line there. And of course, we'll continue to try to make some more expansions here and trying to shop around for a deal on grandstands and see if we can put some more people in here with some expanded area.
Okay, how many seats would you like to enlarge the facility by?
I'd like to bring in at least another 1,500 to 2,000 just to have that capability. It's a matter now that the cost of new seating is so expensive that it's really unobtainable at this point. But if we can, Catamount is closing down, and we spoke with Tom about their grandstand, and if there's a way that we can get, a deal on some new seats and refurbish them ourselves and put them in order, then we'll probably grab it.
Well, we do hope you get those stands up there because it's a very popular track up there. I want to thank Andy and Dan for that report. Okay, we're going to take a break. When we return, we will take a look at some of the results from the area. We'll be back in a moment. Well, now let's take a look at some of the results. Well, Friday night at Lee, the very young and popular driver Pete Frappia took home the win in the Pro Stocks over Buzzy Bezanson. Street Stock feature went to Pat Patton. First hobby feature to Richie Wheeler. Second hobby feature to Lee Weldy. Limited feature to John Poison, and the disc jockey feature to John Falcone of Northfield. On Saturday night at Star Speedway, the Super Modifieds ran one of the qualifying events for the Oswego Classic. Unfortunately, on the 5th lap, Scott Martell grenaded an engine going into the first turn and took half the field with him. Finally, about a half hour later, the feature was run and Doug Heveron dominated the action. In other action, mini stock feature Bob Cabral of Haverhill took the win. In pro stock feature, Dave Simard of Plaistow. And from Middleton, Steve Knowlton took the street stock feature. Also on Saturday night, the Coors Tour was at Catamount Speedway in Milton, Vermont, where Paul Richardson had one of the best rides of the season, but had to be black flagged halfway through the race as he picked up part of Jack Bateman's machine. When it was all over, Robbie Crouch was the winner, with Oxford 250 winner Jamie Obie taking second, and a hard-charging Richardson finished third. On Sunday, besides the Coors Tour, Beech Ridge fans saw a classic modified race with Bobby Gahan taking the win over Rick Harrison and Danny Pullen. And on Sunday at Hudson, they were only able to get one race in, and that was the rookie race, and that was taken by Jim Murphy. Trackside will have coverage of the rain-delayed Coors Tour from Beech Ridge and footage of Pete Fiandaca's attempt at his 100th win at Hudson on Sunday, so that will be a big event. Don't forget to watch for that. Well, I'm Bill Burton. I'd like to thank you for watching. Everyone here at Trackside and Mecca 13 thanks you. I would like to leave you from a little pre-race party, Coors party, up in Gora, Maine at Dan Wolf's house where the group Easy Money played. Thanks for watching.